Hello and welcome to Future Manufacturing Technologies Conference and Expo Speaker Showcase. In the build up to the second edition of FMTX in Malmö on the 28th of May, we're running a series of interviews with some of our speakers. My name's Philip Bell, I'm from Go-Konnect, the organisers of FMTX. Today I'm very happy to be joined by Christen Nielsen. Christen is CEO at Ortofon in Denmark, and will be presenting on the 3D printing live stage at FMTX. So, good afternoon, Christen, and welcome. It's great to speak to you today.
Okay, good afternoon to you, Philip.
Good. So we'll jump straight into the questions. Firstly, your presentation is about integrating 3D printing in the complete value chain of consumer products. Can you just give us a little bit of background and history with regards to 3D printing at Ortofon?
Yes, I mean, we are in the business of making consumer products for the audio industry, and this means that we're always interested in new materials and new designs when we renew our products. And some 10, 12 years ago, we initiated a conversation with what is called the Technical Institute of Denmark, who is sort of responsible for spreading new technology and knowledge about these things in Danish industry. And they came up with an idea of using selective laser melting for our consumer products. And at that time, 12 years ago, we'd only seen this being used for non-consumer products. So the Technology Institute was very interested in talking to us and working with us because this was a consumer product.
Okay.
And this was okay. This was very interesting because it was for us a lot of work and a lot of learning and a huge success.
Okay.
And what happened was that we were able to come out with a very unusual design, and the design was the design freedoms were used for two purposes. Of course, for the design in itself, the aesthetics, but also for making a more precise geometry for the product, because what we were doing was a structure, a kind of skeleton for the phono cartridge, and there you have to place different components of the motor system, and the more precise we could have the geometry, the better and the stronger the motor system we had. So the design purposes came in two ways, and we came out with an excellent product. And afterwards, when we introduced the product, we had fantastic reviews, and the technology narrative that we could tell in the market about this product was of enormous benefit to us. And it came so that on top of the design purposes, on top of the designs, we had an unintended consequence, which was that the material, which was selective laser melting of steel powder, we came out with a finished product that had a very, very low vibration, which is fantastic in our business. So the technology narrative when we went to the market with a consumer product was fantastic.
Okay, good stuff. I mean, even now there's very few good quality case studies of consumer products actually being printed in the marketplace at the moment. So it sounds like a really, really interesting case study.
Well, of course, it wasn't plain sailing because there was a lot of new things that we had to learn, and one of the things that we don't remember so well today, because it has been overshadowed by the success, was that we really spent a lot of time on the first surface treatment, the polishing and the painting and the lacquering of the product. That was there we spent a lot of time.
Okay, perfect. And can you give us just an example of some of the consumer components that are now being produced with 3D printing?
Yes, because when we did this and when we had this very successful product, using the selective laser technology. Over the years, we have now made it so that all our high-end products, these are products that are costing more than 4,000 euros street price,
Okay.
they now have a component, or they now have the structure made from selective laser melting. So the selective laser melting technology has become an identifier for Ortofon high-end products. So there's no high-end product or no product over 4,000 euro which doesn't carry a component which is made by selective laser melting.
Okay.
Further, we now, of course, as 3D print technology has evolved, we have a couple of 3D printers ourselves. Not that we want to have the 3D printing in-house, but we need to understand it very well. What are the possibilities? What is the potential? So we are making some components for instead of plastic molding, etc., so that we also use in other products. So not only the high-end product, but we're also starting to use component in the rest of the product line.
Okay. Well, sounds like the impacts are really spreading across the business then.
It is. I think the 3D printing, where we started with the selective laser molding, has done us a lot of good, both on the, what shall we say, on the creative side, the engineering, the research and development for new products, but also in the production side. It is now being integrated into the production side, both in shall we say, toolings, fixtures, or components. Say if we need a component of less than 500 units, and it's advantageous.
Of course.
These are the things, but we are very conscious that we wanted to have it across the value chain and what we can tell in the market, because this supports very much the technology narrative that we tell about Ortofon in the market.
Okay. And I mean, you've been utilizing this for quite a number of years now. How have you seen the technology and also the materials develop over the course of the last 10 years?
Well, it's an interesting technology because everybody can see the potential, and the potential are in many ways. We at some point we decided that this is not for us to do the 3D printing, the advanced 3D printing ourselves. We have a couple of shall we say, simple 3D printers, so we have an idea of what are the possibilities. But we want to understand this very well, and so that we can work and get the best from the specialized 3D printers. So we see it as something that has to be integrated into the complete value chain that we have from product development, from production, and for the marketing and the communication, and also for some of the customer work where we go and make special products in small series for specific customers.
Okay, cool. And what would you say you've needed to change internally, for example, in terms of mindset or skills, to be able to really embrace this across the value chain, as you've mentioned?
So you mean changing with the staff and the mindset and the processes that we do?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I mean, you have your process chain, and then some of the processes are changing. Like I said earlier in this interview, when we started with this, we really spend a lot of time with surface treatment. So surface treatment has become something that is we have to put more effort into, and we have to think it into these. So that is one thing. So if you take the different stations in your value chain, some of them they can be done faster, but others there you have more work, say like with the surface treatment. But and the same applies for shall we say the project execution. If you have a project, say a new product being developed, I'd say that some of the steps are changing. Some of them can be done very quickly, like a first prototype, an idea, how does this look? And and this we must not forget, but then some of the later steps, they take maybe more time, because once we've seen the prototype working, then we must discipline ourselves and do the drawings and all the details before we move on. So what shall we say, the profile of the value chain has changed. The other thing is the mindset of our engineers. I mean, we have the possibilities of playing with different ideas. So instead of, shall we say, a mindset of thorough planning and thinking a lot of possibilities and scenarios, here we can do shall we say, a quick and dirty, does this work not, and then move on. So that's a different way of working with things.
So it speeded the process up potentially in that area.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. Well, it sounds like it's going to be a really, really interesting presentation, and one I'm sure that the attendees will be able to learn a lot from, both in terms of the failures and the kind of struggles along the way, but also the benefits as well.
Well, you tend to remember the bright side more than the dark side afterwards, especially if it's a success, you know. So,
of course. Well, perfect. Well, thanks for your time today, Christen. It's been a pleasure speaking to you.